we're live. Deck Doctor Cementos, my little gray man. Love the name of the deck.
Cementos.
Rock Throw. What's going on? I can only assume.
So this was originally built before Tokiyami became the threat that it is.
Sure.
But this deck is really hard for Kirishima to deal with, and I was kind of hoping to use it at Nats. I did it in playing it, but apparently checking threes means you don't win games.
Lame.
Yep. But yeah, it's throw as much damage as possible. You don't care about speed. It's all about just using his ability and hitting their face.
Sure.
I've got it at 50 cards right now because I kind of want it to be as consistent as possible.
Okay.
But my block zones are honestly awful. And
Take a look.
I just kind of wanted some input.
What?
I said awful.
Yeah. You certainly did. Oh, I love Cementos so much. I think he's such a cool character.
I do as well. Like it's super fun to be like, oh, your opponent looks at your board and they're like, you only have 2 foundations, and I'm like, no, I don't.
Yeah.
And they're like, you're a 5-hander, and I'm like, no, I'm not.
No, I'm not.
Wait till I draw 9 cards next turn.
Yeah, I dig it. I dig it. Doing a little looking. Give me just 1 second.
Oh, no, take your time. I've got a few things in the sideboard that were originally in the deck, and I've kind of took out.
So
I just don't know the best options.
Tell me, what do you need my help with? What's the goal here?
A big part is figuring out the foundations with getting my block zones a little bit better off, because right now 11 mids is not cutting it.
Sure.
But just trying to keep that consistency level. I'd like to stay around 50 cards, but if I have to go a few up, it's probably not going to kill me.
Probably.
I might check less attacks if I put a few more foundations in.
Yeah, I think you are by book standard technically 1 attack over the limit.
Right.
But I don't know if that's enough to kill you.
Like right now, do I have Faith Shield on me?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I'll have Faith Shield, so Creeping Vine doesn't really get its full effect, but it's just there for the throw, I guess.
Yeah, it easily could come down by 1, especially with the amount of high blocks you have. You've got no mid blocks on any of your attacks.
Howitzer originally wasn't something I expected to be as good as it is, but when every card you play hits and goes to momentum, drawing a whole bunch of cards, it's really nice.
Sure. Yeah. That makes sense. Okay. I didn't have a ton to add. Let me take one more quick little pass. It's weird you're not playing coordinated. What a coink.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I could. Most people wouldn't be happy about it.
Yeah, most people. Not me. Please, play it. Make it happen. You deserve it.
I'll play. I'm gonna play Hardened Jab until I think it's probably gonna have something happen to it.
Sure.
I think it comboing with and another one. Oh, I can't think of the name of it. The action flips your opponent's card.
Seizing.
Busted.
Seizing.
Yeah. I feel like something has to happen between it and seizing, because playing seizing, then playing it, and then grabbing seizing back up is disgusting.
I think I actually found a spot in this deck for that card. That's crazy. Okay. This card's very good, possibly. Oh, this symbol is so good, man. What is going on?
Yeah, it is.
It's not fair, really. Alright, I got a list. Let's chat about it.
Oh.
Alright. So, the first thing that I put in that it is insane that you don't have is Male Bonding. This card is a mandatory 4 of in every Cementos deck. Getting smacked by a move and getting a 2/3 of a hand size is messed up.
That's fair.
Not to mention getting the card face down. It is way, way good. It's so good. It's way better than whatever this garbage card's doing. This card is bad in our deck. This card is good in our deck. Bad card, good card.
Okay.
Prehensile Tail is insane in your throw deck. It's nuts. It's banana sandwich. If you hit them at all with any of your throws, this card is always live on turn 2. I will just flip and pick back up my throw.
Yep. Okay, yeah.
It also says that this card becomes a throw in deadlock.
That is true.
Yeah. Seizing the advantage. Says that you're
I have a playset now, and it is good. I just didn't have them when I originally built this.
Sure. It's probably better than what Apathetic's doing, exclusively because of this number.
Yeah. I can agree with that.
Shock absorption. Spam, mid-block. Resistance, spam, mid-block. Coping with number 1. I hit you with a throw. I play my next move. I commit coping. I draw my card. I flip coping and ready it.
Fair.
I'm going to skip this next one. I think Honorable Forfeit's kind of insane, as long as you have the zones for it, right? I play jab. I play overhead reversal. I commit Honorable Forfeit. I flip Honorable Forfeit and re-ready it. Creeping Vine with +2 to my check. Very good.
Yeah, that is very good.
Yeah. And then the last one is just Tetsu Thrashing. This card's interesting. Because you're playing 1 with nature, it's possible for you to get down lower hand size than your rival, as unlikely as it is, right, to grab the cards. It's a 4 mid for X that builds you cards if they're attacks, right? If it's if it was a foundation, it gets 2 damage. If it's an attack, you build it face down to then pick it up back up with jab. This card says plus 1/3 hand size every time you flip an attack.
Right.
It's also a mid block for an attack, and is a 2 check. 2 check's the only issue, right? I don't know if this necessarily exists in your Cementos deck because of what it's doing, and in order to play this card, we have to cut some number of this, right? Because jab and thrashing are just too good for each other, and the fact that this is working off of this, right? I'm not sold on it. I think as soon as I don't know that has a spot. As soon as I get a 4th thrashing, I'm playing thrashing Cementos for a webcam event. There's no shot. I think that ability right there of like get a hand size or just give this thing 2 damage, confirm my next check is insane. It's just nuts.
Yeah, I like it. I can't stand playing 2 checks for 1.
Sure.
And I just don't think it fits in this.
I agree. I just wanted to bring it to the attention.
Yeah.
So with that then, right? We don't get to touch the attack lineup. The only thing we can say attack lineup wise is we get to cut this card down by 1, right? Because it's it's to make this just a little softer.
Math.
What of this looks good to you?
So I want to talk about the manly passionate versus male bonding. So one, I mean, I'm a big face. 31 life is a lot for them to get through.
Yeah. But
being able to play a foundation or block with a foundation and then build it face down, use it, then flip it and ready it, I feel is worth it is in the end worth it. Sure. In a game where I'm having to worry about a bird throwing 7 attacks at my face.
Yeah, well, I just don't think that this Cementos deck is going to beat Tokoyami any better than any other Cementos deck.
Right? I mean, true.
That character is not fair. It is not fair to compare you wanting to have a fun, leisurely, slightly competitive swim and being like, well, Michael Phelps can beat me. Right? Something needs to happen to Tokoyami. And so, like, comparing your decks to Tokoyami, if you want to play competitively versus him, then you should not play a fun throw Cementos deck. That's not what you should do.
I
You have
guess
to play
that's fair.
Jiro or Kirishima or like one of the top 4 decks. You just have to, right? Play Ojiro if you want to beat Tokoyami. Play Tokoyami if you want to beat Tokoyami. I think playing fun Cementos deck should be, how do I beat the Midoriya 2s? How do I beat Kirishima, right?
I've played a lot of Kirishima with this deck, and he just has no answers.
Totally. Yeah, absolutely. He's supposed to block the things that he's allowed to block, then partial block the things that he can't, and you just look at him and go, you're taking damage on all of these. Sorry, man. Right? I think this deck is very, very cool for fighting Kirishimas, right? This deck could have gone and topped Nationals. Or how did you do at Nationals with this deck?
I played 6 rounds on the webcam event, and I dropped after my second loss because I didn't want to go the whole rest of the day to maybe get day 2.
Sure. That's fair.
I also played a Choco 2 3 games in a row.
That's rough.
And that is grueling.
Yeah, it sounds impossible, actually.
Yeah. I beat it twice, and the third time I'm like, okay, I'm just done. Kill me now.
Yeah.
And it was the one that top 32'd, so I can't complain.
There it is. So let me posit you 2 scenarios, right?
Okay.
I have a single manly passionate guy on my board, and I look at my 5 hand size because it's now my turn 2, right? I've got my 1, maybe 2 attacks, my 3 foundations. I can either, because I've got manly passionate guy down, I can either build my 3 foundations to keep myself tempoed into the game, or I build 2 foundations, lose myself on tempo, but if they attack me, and if I can block, and their speed's not too high, I can block one thing, hopefully on the correct block zone, flip, build it down. Or, in another universe, they build on their turn, and I built my 2 and I held my 1. I'm now a -1 hand size character. I went from being a 5-hander to a 4-hander because I could not get that foundation out of my hand.
Fair.
Now, put that on the opposite end, where I've got male bonding. The choice is made for me. I build all 3 foundations. They see male bonding and they see how little input that I have in order to deal with that card. If I flip 1 card on their attack, this card gives me +1 hand size. Right? If I take and I commit and I'll bring it in here. I commit resistance, so next move gets -2 damage. I flip resistance, I ready it, and I have male bonding. I take we'll even say the 7 damage from their move, right? Like, it's big. It's very big.
Mm-hmm.
I then become a 6-hander for free because I took the 7 damage. I build an additional foundation, which could be a throw for the hardened jab I have in my hand, right?
Right.
I think that this card just does so incredibly much in this character that it is insane on his 2 symbols and should be a 4 of on his 2 symbols in every deck that he plays.
All right, you've sold me.
Not to mention, let's pretend, and that's we had 1 manly passionate guy, 1 male bonding. What happens when I open 2 of each of these cards? If you see Cementos build double male bonding, as Cementos, you look at your opponent and you go, I dare you to attack me. I'm going to build 2, flip 2. I'm going to get +1 hand size, and as my 5-hander, I built 2 free foundations off the top of my deck. I'm just going to kill you. This is +2 damage on every move and a hand. This card's cracked, man. If we were playing a bigger deck, I would play 4 of this and 1 of this. If we were playing a bigger deck, because once you are that 7 hand size character and you don't quite find the gas, right? You find 2 attacks, 5 foundations. That's when manly passionate guy actually comes in. I've got my 24 health left, right? I've got my 1 manly passionate guy. I look at my opponent. I block with my tight-lipped. I build it down. I look at them and go, okay, try again. You didn't quite get me. But I think if this is the number we're shooting for, this is the card that is going to be more consistent most of the time. At this point, I'm now beating a dead horse. I'm cutting this card.
Understood.
There's 4 of this, which means we're at 51 cards, which means you have to find a cut. I think not playing 4 of this is a mistake in Earth and Void. Honestly, not playing for this in every deck that is allowed on these symbols could be considered a misplay.
Okay. So I agree. Apathetic should probably just be seizing.
Yeah, I'm down for it. We'll put it to 1, right? Because I think it has these uses, and we'll do double seizing, strictly because we start the game as a 5-hander. I think opening up double seizing sucks.
It does.
Opening double seizing is bad, right? And it turns you, and you have a 1 less or 2 less forechecks, as well as your mid blocks are a little higher, right? We cut high blocks. Let's look at block zones. High. Can I cut it over? Can I cut a creeping vine?
Yeah.
All right, let's do that then. And then from here, we got to see what foundations we have. It can't be fixed. Apathetic. Brute strength at a 2 of. Sell me on it.
It's just another way to get 1 extra damage, and then probably flip it and give more damage with Cementos.
Yeah.
I'm not completely sold on it. It was just something that was an easy. Every attack I play this turn is getting 1 extra more damage on it.
We're gonna go back. Were there any of these other cards that you thought were worth it?
So coping with number 1 seemed interesting, and I think you've got me on Prehensile Tail just because it is that deadlock threat, and Earth in general doesn't have many of those.
Yeah.
But yeah, being able to say my 1 powerful card gets throw against like Asui.
Yeah.
Catch.
Yeah. I think if Prehensile Tail goes in, I think you get rid of Apathetic and Brute Strength and just put this as a 3-of. I think it's just like an instant replace. What's better than lose a health or destroy a foundation for +1 damage? Picking back up Trap Flux.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. Hey, look, I found my 3 damage. It's on the partial. Just kidding, it's not 3 damage. Just kidding, it's not 3 damage. Just kidding, it's not 3 damage. Yeah.
I like it.
As well as, right? It is momentum hate, right? So like it's a way for them to not have this stuff. Here. This looks good. We've got coping. How many copings are you thinking?
Maybe 2. I don't know that I want to go higher than that.
That's how I feel as well, and I think it means we have to cut a learning.
Yeah, I mean those are sideboardable. I feel like there's something that you are forced to play right now.
Sure, totally. No. You already have it in your sideboard, so I'm gonna leave it there. We're gonna toss this up to a 2 of as well. That didn't actually change our blocks at all. In fact, our blocks technically got worse. Because like we lost the 51st card, right?
Yeah. And like I'm not completely sold that it has to be at 50, but I feel like a lower count is better for what this deck is trying to do.
Sure. Yeah. That's totally fair. This is killing me, right? Or this is what's killing me, right? There's no mid blocks over here, so we have to like try and find them over here.
It is rough.
I almost want to take 1 with nature and drop it down to a 2 of just to find one more mid block.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
Yeah. And it could be even as simple as like just face shield, right? Just like help with our blocks a little bit.
Yeah, and then I can at least use the trigger.
Actually, I don't know if that's true or not. We could cut the one with nature and put back in 1 learning the standard. I don't think I would hate that.
Okay.
Yeah. I think 14 is acceptable in our 50 card deck. 20, 14, 16, like those are close enough that I'm down, right? Those are at least stepping stones. It's not the 11, 1/5 of your deck is a mid block. That's scary, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean at least half blocking most everything. I've got enough face to take it.
Right. Yeah, man, I dig this. I really like Prehensile Tail Earth throw deck. I think this is the first Earth throw deck that I've seen yet. And did you play the game before MHA?
I did not play before MHA.
Okay.
No.
Earth was the throw symbol, right? And so the fact that it took us all the way till set 3 to really get an Earth throw deck, and the fact that Prehensile Tail is tactically works with Cementos so well, is very reminiscent. I'm happy that this deck exists. Truthfully, I think this is very cool, and this reminds me a lot of classic MHA or classic universes.
Yeah, I think it will do better in the future, but I think the turn 2 format we're in right now just overall isn't healthy for anything.
I think that the big thing is you can't expect this being a rogue deck to fight the top tier meta decks, right?
Right.
I should really do a. It's weird, and people are we're 20 minutes in, and then I get to talk about the nationals meta, right? The nationals meta really is like a food pyramid, right? Like you've got at the very tip top, you've got the 4 decks that are crazy good, right? You've got Tokoyami, Kirishima, Ojiro, Jiro. Those are the 4 most consistent decks. And then underneath, you've got like 10 decks that are like the next contenders, right? Asui, Mineta, or Mineta 2, Ochako 2, Ochako, Momo, right? The ones that are like those are your real gatekeepers for then the rest of the format, where Cementos lies, and we saw Stain, Todoroki 2, all the decks we've seen on Deck Doctors tonight, right?
Right.
This Cementos deck is going to absolutely beat the brakes off of the other tier 3 decks. This deck looks absolutely nuts. And maybe it like fights half of the B tier characters and half of the A tier characters, right?
Yep.
Like I think this deck versus like Ojiro, you might have a chance maybe. And versus Kirishima, what does he do? I think you just get nuked by Tokoyami if he finds the gas, but that's literally every deck in the game. And then Jiro actually has things to fight you, right? It has Walklings at its disposal. And so like not all of your throws are going to do 45 damage. So like I think that like what you have to understand when you make like a fun throw rogue deck like this is, you know, it's a Timmy or it's a Johnny deck, right? Yeah, I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna do the thing that I want to do. I got the cool combo off, right? I did it. I drew 4 off of my Howitzer Impact Cyclone without having another Fury in my deck. How cool, right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. With that though, man, I think this is a cool list. I'm very excited for it. If I didn't already have an Earth Cementos deck, I would certainly give this a try on TTS.
Not a problem.
Yeah.
You ever change your mind, feel free.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. With that said, I think this is it. Stay on the line long enough for me to shoot you the list, and you have a great rest of your night, okay?
You as well.
All right, peace.